What's up, guys? It's Brandon Flash. Today we are doing a 12-volt battery replacement with an Ohmmu Lithium 12-volt on a Tesla Model 3. Hi guys, it's me. Just wanted to let you know I have launched a Patreon. I have a couple different tiers depending on the level of support you want to give the channel. If you could go check that out, there's a link down in the description below. Would really appreciate your support. Enjoy the video. All right, so you might be wondering, why is there a Model 3 in my garage? Where's my Model S? Well, my Model S is at Tesla in Tempe, Arizona. The AC stopped working, which was really unfortunate. There'll be videos about that. But this is Eric's Model 3. He's in the Arizona Tesla Club, and he was kind enough to let me use his car while mine is in the shop. But this morning, when I went to pick it up, before I got there, the 12-volt alert came on. So he was going to bring it to Tesla, but I offered to install it, and I went and picked up an Ohmmu 12-volt battery on my way home, and now we're going to do that replacement. All right, so let's get started on this 12-volt battery replacement. So we're going to start with opening the frunk. This car actually has a power front kit, so that makes it pretty easy. Then we're going to roll down the driver's window, which I already have. We're going to roll down the passenger rear window, which I already have. And then we're going to actually open the passenger rear door. That way we can access underneath the passenger rear seat. And now that we have the driver door open, that passenger rear door open, as well as the front open, we're going to go into settings, and then safety and security, and we're going to go to power off. It's going to ask you to confirm. We're going to do that. And now we're going to wait about 2 minutes for the car to power down, and then we will disconnect the 12-volt control from the high voltage battery underneath the passenger rear seat. While we're waiting for things to power down, we can get our tools out. So I personally like to use an impact driver when possible. Also have a 10mm wrench handy. I've got a 10mm on the impact driver. And then we can go ahead and actually remove this rearward under front panel. It just lifts right off. There's some clips underneath. So we'll just pull that off, set it aside. And then we can go ahead and remove this air duct. So this just pops out. There's 4 little clips. Just like that, we'll pull that off. And then you can see that we do have some extra wires here for that power front kit, but that's not going to get in the way too much here. And there is actually a disconnect here, so it makes it really nice and easy to get that off, but I don't think we're going to have to do much of anything with that. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove this bracket, and that will unsecure the 12-volt battery. But again, we're not going to touch the terminals quite yet until we disconnect from the high voltage side. All right, so before we go ahead with removing the 12-volt battery, we do have to remove or undo the high voltage interlock loop. So there is a small tab on the front of the seat that releases this seat. I don't have a ton of room here, but we are then going to remove this foam piece. And then there's a small connector down here. Hopefully you guys can see that. There's a little tab right here. Unlatch that, push it down, and then pull it off. Just like that. The car is powered down. I ended up going inside for a moment to cool off. So let's go ahead and remove the battery bracket here. So we're just going to loosen this up. All right, so there is more than one style of this bracket, but on this particular one, once you loosen this piece, you actually just slide it across and then it comes out. Be careful that you don't touch both the positive and the negative at the same time, or the positive and anywhere on the car, because you will create a short. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove the positive terminal. So we're going to loosen that up just like this. You don't need to undo it all the way. Be sure to leave this on until you need to remove it. So it might take a little wiggling to get that off. Let's see. Sometimes they're easier than others. So I'm going to go ahead and front kit. It does have open end connectors. I didn't realize that, so those slid out. And then you just go ahead and tuck this off to the side. Now we're going to do the negative side. So same thing, just loosen that up. You don't need to remove it all the way. And then we will just pop that off. All right, got that off, tucked it off to the side here. We're then going to disconnect this vent hose here because we're not going to need that on the Ohmmu battery because it's not venting. And then you pop this handle out. It is going to be fairly heavy, and we're just going to lift straight out. So it is pretty amazing. This is an original 12-volt battery, and this is a 2018 car with about 53,000 miles on it. You can see a bit of swelling here on the sides. That's fairly normal as these age. Now we're going to get out the Ohmmu battery. So these are the little lead adapters. Those are important. You'll want to set those aside and have them handy. There's the little warranty booklet. And then we'll remove this, pull this out, and here we have the battery. All right, so here you can see the Ohmmu battery versus the Atlas OEM battery. This one's very heavy. This one's very light. You do see that the terminals are on opposite sides. There is plenty of wiring for these to reach. There are a couple different variants of the Ohmmu Model 3 battery, couple. Some of them have the terminals back here, just like the OEM battery, and some of them do have them on the forward side. Either one will work. There's no difference in functionality, but just be sure to pay attention to that. They are very clearly labeled. So we've got positive and we've got negative. We've got positive and we got negative. So just be sure to note that before you put it in. So let's go ahead and drop the Ohmmu battery into the car. So just like removal, we are just going to pop it in there carefully, straight down. Kind of want to center it there. Then we'll put that stand down. And then we will go ahead with the bracket. So it looks like it is easier to start with the forward part. So kind of tip it, tuck it in there. And then you can put the rear one in. It's a little bit easier being that you can see this rear one more. So now we're just going to snug this down. You do not want to over tighten it or you will crack the battery. So be careful. If in doubt, use hand tools rather than power tools. Just give it a little bit more here. All right, that's now nice and snug. You don't want the battery to really move at all. That's a little bit of flex, but that's totally normal. Now we are going to go ahead and connect the terminals. All right, so time to attach the battery. So we're going to start with the positive terminal. So we'll pull off the cover here, just like that. And remember those little adapters I mentioned, where we're going to start with the big one here. That goes on the positive terminal. These are little lead adapters. Push them on all the way until it's flush. Then we're going to go ahead and attach the 12-volt positive connection to the battery. Just like that. So push it on nice and firm. I'm then going to attach the wires here for the aftermarket stuff. So those just slide in there. That makes it pretty easy. If you don't have aftermarket things on your car, you're not going to have these additional wires like I'm showing you right now. So now that those are put in place, we're just going to snug it here. Again, you don't want to over tighten it. So just nice and snug. Make sure it won't move at all. So just like that. Then we're going to go to the positive side, or sorry, the negative side. We've got the other lead adapter here. So again, we'll just push that on. Give it a nice firm push until it's flush. And then we're going to attach the negative side. You do want to do this fairly quickly, just in case there is any spark, which is possible and totally normal. So I'm going to do that off camera here so I have both hands, and then I'll show you guys the next step. All right, so when you attach that negative connection again, you might hear things start to power back up. Then we'll tighten it here. Again, just nice and firm so that it doesn't move at all. And now we have replaced the 12-volt battery. we're going to go ahead and replace the air plenum. So again, this just pops in place. So just nice firm on those connections. You'll hear some pop sounds. This one I'll need 2 hands for. Air plenum is reattached. Now we're going to take this panel that goes on top and put it back in place. So we just kind of line it up there. And then there are some push connections. Depending on when your car was built, they might be better than others. But basically just kind of firm presses all around, and then it should be reattached. Next, we're going to go back to the rear seat area, and we're going to reattach the high voltage control. So we'll put this connector back in. So the opposite of what we did before, just nice firm press, and then click that connector up. And then don't forget to replace that foam piece. Just like that. And give the seat a nice firm push down, and then it will latch back in place. And now we get back in the car, and we no longer have a 12-volt battery warning. All is well here. And you've just successfully installed an Ohmmu lithium-ion 12-volt battery. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I do have a link down below for Ohmmu batteries. I truly think that this is the best solution you can find for replacing the 12-volt battery in a Tesla. You're going to get a much longer life. I know in Arizona it's very common for Tesla 12-volt batteries to only last about 12 to 18 months on the high side. This one was a very long life, which is very unusual. It lasted about 2.5 years and 50,000 miles, but cars that are driven more seem to not kill them as fast, which is generally a good thing. But it's not good for those low mileage or even average mileage drivers. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button down below. If you want to see more content, hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching.